Dead flies make the perfumer's ointment give off a stench, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. The preacher illustrates how a small amount of foolishness can contaminate a lifetime of honorable achievement. Just as a few dead insects ruin a batch of expensive spiced oil, a single lapse in judgment can destroy a hard-won reputation. In the biblical era, perfumers were highly skilled artisans, whose ointments were valuable commodities. Today we see this in cancel culture or corporate scandals, where a single ill-advised social media post or ethical slip can instantly dismantle decades of professional integrity and, quote, personal branding. A wise man's heart inclines him to the right, but a fool's heart to the left. Even when the fool walks on the road, he lacks sense, and he says to everyone that he is a fool. Right and left symbolize direction and dexterity. The wise heart leans toward the place of favor and skill, while the fool's heart leans toward error. Folly is not just an internal state, but becomes obvious to everyone by the way a person walks or conducts their daily life. Biblical walking referred to one's moral path in the community. Modern life often rewards performative intelligence. But as the preacher notes, true character, or lack thereof, eventually reveals itself in the mundane repetition of our daily routines and public interactions. If the anger of the ruler rises against you, do not leave your place, for calmness will lay great offenses to rest. Solomon advises a teachable spirit and patient endurance when facing authority. Leaving one's place implies an impulsive resignation or a reactionary spirit, whereas soothing words can de-escalate a volatile situation and put sins to rest. In the ancient court, an angry king could mean immediate execution. In the modern workplace, emotional intelligence is the key to surviving a hostile supervisor. The wise professional knows that a calm, steady presence often achieves more than a defensive outburst. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun. Folly is set in many high places, and the rich sit in a low place. I have seen slaves on horses, and princes walking on the ground like slaves. The preacher observes a sickening evil. Social and political inversions where unqualified fools are promoted to high positions while those of noble character are marginalized. This reflects the randomness of justice in a fallen world. Ancient royalty viewed princes on foot as a sign of national decay. Modern society frequently mirrors this when digital fame or hustle culture elevates those with loud voices but shallow wisdom over those with actual expertise and honorable character. He who digs a pit will fall into it. If the iron is blunt and one does not sharpen the edge, he must use more strength, but wisdom helps one to succeed. This segment uses agricultural and construction metaphors to show that wisdom brings success. Hard work is vanity if it is done inefficiently. The wise man sharpens the axe of his mind rather than relying on brute force alone. The ancient woodcutter faced physical exhaustion from a dull blade. Today we face information overload and burnout. The modern application is to work smarter, not harder, by investing in spiritual and mental preparation before tackling the unhappy business of the day. The words of a wise man's mouth win him favor, but the lips of a fool consume him. The toil of a fool wearies him, for he does not know the way to the city. A fool is consumed by his own speech. He starts with silliness and ends with evil craziness. His labor is so disorganized that he is exhausted by even the simplest goals, like finding his way to a well-known town. Biblical fools were talkative people who didn't let a word from the Lord in. Today we see this in internet trolls or those who multiply nonsense on social media, becoming so caught up in their own rhetoric that they lose sight of practical reality and their, quote, eternal purpose. Woe to you, O land, when your king is a child, and your princes feast in the morning. Happy are you, O land, when your king is the son of nobility, and your princes feast at the proper time, for strength and not for drunkenness. A land suffers when its leaders are immature and self-indulgent, prioritizing mirth over duty. National health is tied to temperance and leaders who eat for strength to serve rather than for hedonism. Solomon's son Rehoboam was the historical example of an inexperienced and foolish youth who divided the nation. Modern nations face similar crises when leaders prioritize instant gratification and short-term popularity over the long-term justice and righteousness required for a stable society. Through sloth, the roof sinks in, and through indolence, the house leaks. Bread is made for laughter, and wine gladdens life, and money answers everything. Indolence leads to decay, both physically and spiritually. The phrase "money answers everything" is not an endorsement of greed, but an experiential musing on how resources are used to solve earthly problems and provide an escape from trouble. Ancient houses required constant maintenance to prevent rotting rafters. Today, spiritual slothfulness often manifests as digital dopamine addiction, using money and entertainment to mask the meaninglessness of a life not centered on God. Even in your thoughts, do not curse the king, for a bird of the air will carry your voice, or some winged creature tell the matter. Solomon concludes with a warning against careless speech and hidden bitterness. In a world of systemic oppression, word always gets back to the powerful, and the wise person guards their heart even in private bedrooms. In the ancient Near East, the bird of heaven was a proverb for secret informers. In our digital age, privacy is a vapor. Every digital thought or private message can be leaked or carried by the winged creatures of the internet, leading to a reckoning for one's secret words. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Subscribe and join us for our next video on Ecclesiastes chapter 11.